that? Do I hate that? You know, there's nothing worse than sitting in front of the screen of your computer for 20 minutes before the show goes live and having on the wrong intro. I mean, this drives me mad. It's little details like that. But hello, everyone. Welcome to X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And ladies and gentlemen, we got an absolutely outstanding I'd say about a $1.10 or $1.15 worth of podcasting. And we have two incredible people on the panel that are going to deliver some really, really big opinions. What you're going to see on your screen is about an hour's worth of Replaced. I've been playing it, very much enjoying it. As a matter of fact, indies have been ruling my life. I have so many AAA games I got to get to, but Mouse PI for Hire, phenomenal game. I'm about I'd say about maybe 8 or 10 hours into that. Replaced, I'm playing the digital crack cocaine, if you did not know, is Vampire Crawlers. I have nearly 2 days of play of that game. I have 915 achievements of the 1,000, and I've already rolled credits on it, and I'm rolling through it again. It is my favorite game of the year. It might even be my game of the year. It's one of the just absolutely great on console, ridiculous on handheld. It's so freaking good, so addictive that it's crazy. But C Money, welcome back, sir. How the heck are you feeling?
Been good, man. Been good. Been real busy. Work's been crazy. So I've had to miss some of the shows, but we're going, man. Excited. Showcase is coming up. June is not far away now. There's a lot of exciting things coming. Very, very excited. Already setting some appointments and such. So very cool to see what we're going to be getting to look at. It's dope. Good times all around, man. Good times all around.
Yeah. Absolutely indeed. And listen, we don't have just the general. I think he's been promoted. We have an admiral here, folks. Admiral of the Xbox Army. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. Me and Boom, look at it. Look at the volume. You know what? I gotta fix this thing in the background because it takes my volume down. I gotta go to audio and take off the automatic mic adjust. Get that out of here because that thing is a detriment. Drops you down so quickly. It is absolutely disgusting. Yeah. All right, yeah. So it's. Like C Money said, we know coming into this stuff, we have to book our shows. This thing is ridiculous. I'm watching it, doing it in real time. This is absolutely mind-bending.
I mean, we can hear it. You're up and you're down.
Yeah, like this is I can't stand this. This is ridiculous. Well, anyway. Yeah. Summer Games Fest, just this mic thing is ridiculous.
No, I fix it on my end. I think I can. So we have. All right. I think you're good now, buddy.
All right, cool.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're back.
All right. Yes. Yeah. So setting up the appointments. We have there goes again. Anyway, setting up the appointments, looking at all the stuff that we have lined up. I got stuff with Xbox Frontline News. Because getting into a lot of these interviews is very key to why I actually go out to these places. I could watch the show 100%. At home, but doing the background stuff, finding out everything, like all the new games. Like I got a list of new games, and I'm under NDAs for some of the games that I cannot talk about. But this year is super exciting because we have stuff lined up with Nintendo, and I think that's as far as I can
shocked.
Say. Yeah, right?
Like shocked.
Nintendo, like what?
What are you doing here?
Yes, a surprise. Because if people don't know, Nintendo is very like a closed off thing. Access wise, Xbox is hugely accessible. PlayStation is never at any of these things, so their third party stuff is there. But Nintendo is always there, and they usually give larger outlets a look. Well, this year, Iron Lords and On Point, obviously, has gotten a look, and we don't want to squander these opportunities. So I definitely want to see what's on horizon for both companies and what's going on with these third parties. So I just can't wait. I'm super excited. Xbox has a show every month. And
now another one, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Tina Amini just announced another Xbox Presents, and it's going to be talking on May 6th. They're going to be talking about Stranger Than Heaven, which is
every month for the rest of the year. I told people they have a show every month. I didn't know they was going to have 2 shows in April, but I was told that it will be a show every month for Xbox. So buckle up, guys, because they're waiting for you.
Well, I mean, listen,
it goes with what she was paying anyway, so
yeah,
it makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a way for this is, again, it's a double-sided coin on how they're doing these shows, because their Xbox developer directs can be solely focused on first party, right? They don't have to show 5, 6, 7 games. They can focus on 2 games, 3 games, right? And instead of trying to do their partnered, events during that, these other partner events, which seems like they might be doing 1 per month, they have that many partnered games coming out or in the pipeline. Even if you got 1 every other month and you got 6 per year, this is a quick 15 to 18 minute thing. It gets a lot of, it puts Xbox on the map again, because they're doing something partnered. It's Tina Amini and her team. We know that she's doing incredible work there. And it's also highlighting a particular game. That 15 minutes or, 15 to 18 minutes goes a long way, especially with a game like Stranger Than Heaven that looks incredible. But listen, gentlemen, chat, welcome everybody. We have to get into the show, and we have a couple of really big topics. Now, look, you've heard me bang the drum about exclusivity and the need of it to come back. Project Latitude, which was the old regime's way of putting Xbox first-party games on PlayStation and other platforms that was not Xbox and PC, failed. And it failed miserably. And I have the numbers to prove that it failed. But that's not what we're going to open up with. That's what we're going to close with. Because what we're going to open with, and I have not had an opportunity to speak with C Money or King David for that matter, is this new direction for Xbox. And for me personally, I think what jumps off the plate, gentlemen in chat, is this transparency. And by the way, I hear your thing buzzing again, C Money.
Me?
Yeah, it sounded like, like we had trouble the last time. It was like your keyboard or something. Yeah. I don't know. I just heard...
All right, next time.
It sounded like a phone was buzzing. That's about it.
Yeah, but wait, is this bitch fucking
could be on,
that shit is super muted.
Could be on vibrate. Oh. That's what it sounded. I heard it though.
All right.
That's what it sounded
Let
like.
me know when you hear it again. Instantly just say it. Like no matter what, just say it so I can take note of, because I have everything muted that I can see, unless I have some hidden shit that I don't even realize is around me.
Well, listen, chat, this is the conversation that we have been having, I think, the last couple of weeks. It's been a very big piece of news on the socials. King David, you are our special guest, so I'm going to go to you first, because we have not had an actual conversation about this new direction. For me personally, like I was saying before, what jumps off the page almost immediately is this transparency on the direction of Xbox. I will say that how they respond has been very fast, very furious. A perfect example of that is, it wasn't just me that asked, it was a lot of people. More specifically, there's a Twitter account that goes by the name of Xbox Studios. Now, they're not the actual Xbox Studios, they're a parody account. And they specifically asked Asha if that new Xbox logo could be generated into a dynamic theme for the consoles. And she simply responded by saying, "We're working on it." And it's done. it's going to be delivered in the next couple of days. I think that is dope. It's that kind of transparency and community interaction that I absolutely love. Now, yes, we did see that with Sarah. We did see that with Phil. We consistently still see that with Greenie. But this is new management and it's a new identity. I think it is a rebranding or a rebirth of Xbox, in my opinion. The last couple of years, they've been on their back foot, not with games, with how they sell their product. That's an absolute fact. And we're going to get into some of the numbers a little later in the show, which, again, second topic will be how Project Latitude has failed. But, King, I want to get your thoughts on this. Look, you did something for the Xbox brand a couple of years ago that is going to stay around forever. You rally cried, hold the line. You made that quote popular. I mean, you have your own caricature wearing a general helmet screaming into the microphone, hold the line. I think that is going to stay with the Xbox community 100 years after we're gone, right? For you, what are your thoughts on the new direction of Xbox?
Well, I think it was something that was going to be in place regardless. Satya lost so much money messing with OpenAI that he had to openly denounce them just recently in some of, the reports. He came out and said that he will no longer be, supporting OpenAI in any capacity and no longer paying dividends to OpenAI. Because the return on an investment wasn't there. He went after Sam Altman, lusted after Sam Altman, and opened up Bing to him to the detriment of Microsoft. If you're looking at the stocks and you're seeing everything based upon his infatuation with where AI could take the company, along with the quantum chip, well, right now it has been a slow burn with little to no return. And rich people get to the point where dumping money into a pit isn't going to last very long. So you see the detriment in which Phil and Sarah had to work under, because Satya at the time was funneling and this is all alleged, all right, so I don't get sued, was, funneling all the finances to AI endeavors while raising unreal expectations as far as return off investments at a 30%, 28% to Xbox, the brand. Once Microsoft saw Xbox, the brand, able to outsell or out percentage Windows, well, then, the race was on from there, and they proceeded to squeeze the lemon, if you will, for all the juice that it had. It could be akin to you starting up your own lemonade stand outside in front of the house, and your parents was like, yeah, you'll go do that, and you got it running and you got it popular, and then your pops comes home, and that day you made at least like $1,000 selling lemonade, and then the next day they want to be involved, and now it's the Johnson family lemonade stand, and he's gonna outfit you with the best juicer and squeezer, but at the end of the day he's in your profit margins and telling you, well, why don't you put another stand across the street? Well, no, Tommy sells over there. Well, why don't you squeeze some of your lemons and give him some of your recipe? And that's what it was, So they were under unrealistic expectations based upon higher ups, Amy Hood and the such. And I feel that, all of this stuff was still in place, but I think us as the fan base, as consumers, we became tone deaf to the previous regime. We didn't want to hear anything else, Phil had to say based upon 4 games. He will always be, for all the great things that he has done, the sad part about it, if he stayed too long to become the villain. He was the hero, because without him, Xbox is not here.
That is correct, sir.
He did things to make sure that Xbox stays intrinsically in Microsoft. Microsoft can't get rid of Xbox if they wanted to right now. And looking at what he did, he's going to be remembered for just 4 games. because that conversation did irreparable harm to the brand.
Mhm.
Because no matter what they say, there's always going to be a question. Oh, well, when is the game coming out? Oh, you say that now, but you'll switch later on. Yeah, and it's like, damn, you get branded a liar, and this is going to stick with you. This is why they tell you don't do anything that you don't want to be known for. So now you're looking at them, and the regime now is diametrically different in the sense that before, and this is what I didn't like about the past regime. Let's say PlayStation launches a game and they make a decent sale and they post it, Phil and them would say, good job. Well, to hell with your good job. Don't say nothing, because when you do a good job, they're not bigging you up.
No,
right?
They have never done that.
And they purposely didn't step on Sony's day or Nintendo's day. I see here, when you got Matt Booty in charge, and never forget, he said his true feelings when it really mattered. We'll spend them out of business.
Yes.
And that will always stay and resonate with me, because the actions that I'm seeing now is from people that are entitled. And let me explain what I mean by entitled. Have you ever had somebody that felt they was superior than you? And how dare you? I think that you have to have an elitist attitude when you are Microsoft, when you are a $4 trillion company, when you are that, looking at the $1 billion company, and the conversation is, what? Like, we'll spend them out of business. They don't even have enough money to hang with me. Like, that's like going to the strip club with somebody with a bunch of ones and you're throwing bricks of money. It's completely different. This guy can't hang with me. Why is he here? And that was the attitude that they were supposed to have from the beginning. And I see now they don't care about your day. They don't care about what your former prestige was. They don't care about your games. They don't care about your platform. Xbox is stepping all over the competition, and it's doing it purposely. And I see anytime PlayStation has any form of momentum, any slight form of momentum, Xbox comes out and does something to trump that momentum or to stop the conversation. And if PlayStation has stepped on any rakes or feels like there is anything wrong, Xbox continues to pour gasoline on them by saying, this is the stuff that we're doing right. And this is the stuff that's going fantastic. I like that attitude. I think she brought that attitude. Spunky, rebellious, charismatic, and actually retaliatory very quickly, and highly petty. I am highly petty. I happen to appreciate it. And I'm like, be that way, because that is the only way that you're going to make people respect you. When Sean Layden can say that they want your platform, and he doesn't even work for Sony any longer, but he still bleeds blue. I want your platform to be smothered. He said smothered with a pillow. It should be put out to pasture. It's in poor health. She pulls up to his LinkedIn and says, we should have a chat.
Yeah, almost immediately, by the way.
That
is the biggest mob boss stuff that I've seen. When now, if people having problems, DM me, we'll work on it, we'll fix that. They are front and center. They're being held accountable to a different standard. And it's like the strings have been released, and they're able to have a conversation with the people that have so much doubt, right? So those that are suffering with Xbox PTSD, they're seeing that people are out there fighting for what we believe in. When they asked her before, she said, getting back to what Xbox is. And they asked her, what does that mean? Because our opinion is she doesn't know what an Xbox is. So how can she tell us to get back to it? Well, apparently she knows a lot more than I gave her credit for, because this is what I expect it to be. I expect it to be kicking in the door, waving the 4-4. I expect you to do that. I expect this to be what it is. I expect a $4 trillion company to act like that. Godzilla. Let Kong scream for help. Stomp his brains out. I don't care. But the best thing that I've heard so far is every rumor has been substantiated and been coming out as fact. And the last rumor I heard was exclusives is back on the table. Boy, I think she's waiting for the opportune time to tell them no soup for you.
Yes.
And it's over. Just you're gonna get just like PlayStation, you're just gonna get live service games.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that.
You know something, King and C, we might be in the audience this June when that what you just described might happen. So walk with me on this, chat and panel. If there's one thing we love about Killer Phil is he had a couple of moments, right? He had a couple of moments that he got out there and he did something that was so like unexpected that the crowd went bananas, right? One of the first ones is getting up on stage to say that the Xbox One had full backwards compatibility on the Xbox 360. And look, I know I'm a big nerd and I'm not ashamed. I got goosebumps just talking about that because I watched that moment probably about 100 times because I thought it wasn't just what Phil was saying, it's how he said it and how the crowd reacted. Also in 2018, when he announced the 5 studios, when they announced that they purchased, Ninja Theory and Playground Games and Obsidian. Think about that for a second. That was an E3 moment, right? Like, oh my God, Compulsion. Now, granted, the 5th studio that they enacted that was making Perfect Dark didn't happen. They wound up, closing them because they just too many chefs, not enough cooks. You know what I'm saying? But that was a moment. I actually think that it's possible that what you just described for us, King, could be a moment that comes this June at the showcase, and it will be hand delivered for Asha to make that announcement. That would be one of her first big moments, right? I mean, again, I'm speculating, but see, I want to bring you in and get your thoughts on it because the direction of Xbox has changed in a way that we haven't seen since the Xbox 360 era. I'd say maybe a little bit of Xbox One, but there was an attitude era for the Xbox 360 because they knew that they had incredible first-party games like Gears of War. They knew that they had exclusive content like Mass Effect and, of course, like BioShock. Now, I've been saying this for a while. I would love for them to return to getting those third-party deals and pulling a PlayStation page out of their book, right? But what have you seen so far with the new direction, and what are your thoughts on it, man? Because we have not had an opportunity to discuss it.
Yeah, for sure. So there's like a bunch of different things within this, but the first thing for sure is that Asha she's not messing around, right? That for me, that's the most exciting thing, and I said this right from the beginning, and that's why I'm so satisfied with what she's doing because on our show from day one, right when she was first announced, everybody was hating on the fact that she was not a gamer or whatever, but I watched immediately once I saw that happen. I looked into her and I watched some of her previous interviews, for lack of a better word, right, where she was sitting down talking about something and it was about the AI stuff, and it just, when she spoke, she just like she had such a commanding way of talking where she just knew what she was talking about, right? And she said it with conviction, and the way she spoke, she just made you understand what she was trying to say, right? And that's the biggest problem that Xbox has had, because every time they try to say something new, no one knows what the hell they're talking about, right? Like the Xbox One generation, that whole announcement was amazing announcement, but the world didn't see it that way, so it got flipped. She just had a presence, and I knew from the beginning, I could see it, that she was hungry, right? She has something to prove. And I think that's where we were on the tail end now, where it's like, that hustle, right? That return to Xbox. Well, that moment was in the beginning when Seamus Blackley and the crew, you know, Jay Allard, all of them were doing this, right? There was a hustle to it, right? There was a grind to it that the Xbox that we have before Asha took over is not in that position anymore, right? So, you know, the people, you know, Phil's been there for 20 whatever years, right? He's been there forever. Like he did his part, right? He saved Xbox, right? But I just don't know that he had it in him to keep going with what was going to need to be done to kind of move forward. And, you know, I just think that for me, Asha, right from the beginning, I thought she would be coming in here with something to prove, and that's what's been bearing out. She's been nonstop, faster than I anticipated. I remember distinctly on my show, somebody was like, yeah, but see, you're not going to see anything that Asha's doing for years because this is all left over from previous. And sure, you know, the console's left over from previous, and there's certain things that are left over from previous, but what she's doing, she's taking every opportunity to come out on Twitter. And this is one of my favorite things I love about her. She is announcing what is happening. She's not quote tweeting the announcement and giving her 2 cents on it. No. If you follow Asha, you are getting the news directly from her. She is writing whatever she's writing about the situation and telling you what it is. She's not relying on another part of Xbox to deliver this message. And she's just like, yeah, check out this message below. You know what I'm saying? Like she is extremely active with that. And I love that. She's taking accountability for what's going on. And she's kind of, again, putting her stamp on it, right? She wants to make sure that everyone knows that this is what Asha did, right? Asha made these changes immediately. And honestly, some of this stuff, you know, it's crazy how quick it's happening, but a lot of it, like we found out, like Larry Herb, right? Major Nelson, he put in a feature request 5 years ago.
Yes.
She came in 2 weeks later, she put it through, right? It's not hard to do this because everyone is so vocal, right? Everyone is so vocal. You know what people want to hear. You know what people want. And it's just a decision of whether or not you're going to do that or whether you are going to find it valuable enough to go ahead and implement. You know, achievements, that started changing already. We've been asking for years, right? There was always this idea that something was going to come. So like, it's clear that she is coming out here and trying to make her mark immediately. And you know, I do love the fact that she doesn't let things linger either. If somebody's saying something on Twitter that has any, you know, clout, you know, a Jez, anybody, she's not afraid to go ahead and reply, nah, dog, we're actually still doing that, or no, that's not it. Or she doesn't care. She's just coming out, or we hear you, we're on it. Like, relax. All right. That's what I feel like I can see her face when she's doing this, like this fucking guy. No, Jez, we are not getting out of the mobile game. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I get that from her. Like, she's just like, she ain't taking this ish. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I cursed before. I'm trying not to.
That's all right.
Like, she's not taking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, no, this is the reality. Let's go ahead and handle this. And what I also love is that it is empowering others on the Xbox team to do the same, right? Stein has been unleashed. He was like, I feel like he was a pit bull that you had him hooked on the tree. You know what I'm saying? He was lined up. He wasn't going nowhere, but you could always see it, but he was always caged in. But now, yo, the moment I knew that things changed was when Stein tweeted to Jeff and was like, yo, fam, what is this image that you're putting on here? This is the lowest.
He said, yeah, I remember he said it's like 144p.
Yeah, 144p. It was like, man, like they're not messing around. I thought, you know, Jeff was like on some sacred ground that nobody would talk to, but apparently Stein was like, nah, we good, fam. I'm going in. Like, you're going to talk smack, at least put a good image there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it ultimately, I am really loving Asha and what she's bringing to Xbox. The energy that she is bringing to Xbox is huge for me. I feel like she is a smart person. And I will say that you guys were talking about it. I've been talking about it on my show every single time we get a chance, because every time she drops something new, there's always been like this tease for exclusives, right? Like what's going to happen? Will they, won't they? Right. We did just get another update. I don't know if you saw the interview with Steven Totillo.
Yes.
Which for me pretty much kind of confirmed that exclusivity is not going to come back the way that a lot of the people are hoping is going to come back. The idea of exclusivity, yeah, sure. I think there's something there. I think she is going to do something because she wants to say she did it. Like she wants to be able to have that stamp there. But, you know, she mentions some, you know, information that makes it seem like it's just not going to be what people are thinking. And, you know, maybe it is. I frankly don't care either way. I'm out of the exclusive conversation. I don't really, I'm not gonna be somebody who was all in on exclusives and then come out here, and now that they changed things up and it made sense to me, I have now changed what I think about exclusives. You can't make me unthink about it. You know what I'm saying? So, like for me personally, I just don't
die
care.
out.
Yeah.
Say it again.
No. I mean, look, I
said I want them to die out.
No.
Who to die out?
PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is the thing. You know, like I don't want. Look, if there was a surefire like this is the case, then yes. But I said this on my show, and I believe this to be true. We already had exclusives. They're not going to take away exclusives that are gonna go, like Call of Duties are not stopping.
No. There
no,
are certain
not like
things.
that.
No.
But this is what I'm saying is that the
I'm
only
talking about
form
core
of
titles
exclusivity that is going to hurt actual PlayStation are the games that actual PlayStation players play. And let's be clear, whether it's our games or their first party games, their players don't play them, right? So the idea of exclusivity going to hurt PlayStation, that's a lie. It's going to hurt the console fanboy, right? It's going to hurt the PlayStation fanboy because he's not going to be able to say what he has said. So I get it.
Money, that's who I'm fighting, though.
I know, but like, I feel like that's a fight that, like, you made us a comment, right? And I got to tell you that's, I think Asha confirmed that statement to be true. And that's why I just don't think it matters anymore. You said when Phil told everybody about the 4 games, we know that he's been misquoted, right? Because he never actually said that. But the internet has misquoted him forever, and now he's always going to be the just 4 games guy when he never said it that way. But either way, that is what he said. And then we know the plan eventually changed. It was like, okay, put everything over. And then Asha said the plan is the plan until it's not the plan, right?
Facts. Until, you know, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Exactly. But this is the problem, right? People assume that would only go in one direction, right? So if they went ahead for whatever reason, let's say Asha wakes up in the morning and says, all right, it's the day. Press the button. Everything's exclusive going forward. It's all done. Cool.
No, I don't want that.
When everything goes sideways because the dollars don't make as much sense, because let's be real again, we got to keep it a buck. A game like South of Midnight on Xbox didn't set the world on fire. So you can't go and look at, you know, low sales on a PlayStation and be like, oh snap, look at how little it's selling over there. It didn't sell over here either like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but there's like development costs that go into this that a lot of people forget about.
Was for the amount they sold on Xbox. So if they can, we got to keep it a buck. If they could spend the entire budget to make an Xbox version that didn't sell that much, then the extra cost to port it, which let's be real, these are not huge endeavors anymore. The engines are the same. Like we got to stop pretending. There's not a huge cost to port it over.
Yeah, maybe like $1 million or $2. Yeah.
The extra they make covers that shit, man. It does. And if it doesn't, it still helps overall to boost up what
the studio made. Because at the end of the day, if we listen to what they said in one of the other interviews, all that helps. It goes back to the studio for them to do something new and bigger.
I give you a pushback.
Sure.
And this is a minor pushback based upon probably somebody thinking misquoting me. Okay, now as a console warrior, I don't want y'all to get a damn thing. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Yeah, someone's phone is buzzing. I think it's C Money. So
it's not mine, bro.
Oh.
I promise you. I took my phone, I moved it over. The other phone is completely shut down.
Phone is off.
Yeah, mine's phone is off as well.
So
something's happening. Maybe I'm hitting it. Maybe it's like the table or something by mistake. Maybe it's,
nah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But okay, so from a business standpoint, core pillar titles, those got to stay locked to your console.
Yeah.
You know, as far as Grounded, Sea of Thieves, Call of Duty, listen, when Asha says the plan is a plan until it's not, I think she honestly was talking about the dynamic when it comes to Game Pass. You know, Xbox had a weird view, and this has to be, you know, Phil's view, because Phil is the father of Game Pass, right? So when you have an idea and a vision of whatever you think your child should be, then obviously it's going to you're not going to move off that pivot. Asha's not married to the Game Pass in the sense of how, you know, the Phil was. So her decoupling Call of Duty from it is actually a benefit, you know, for the Xbox brand.
It's huge.
Seriously, it's huge because
huge,
and that's
positive,
her
man.
move. That's her move, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that away. That's her move. That's her thing. Because again, Game Pass is supposed to be the vehicle, but the games is supposed to be the gasoline, right? And giving games like that of that magnitude time to sell, cool. Live service games that have a super return off investment, yeah, those games need to be on other platforms. I feel the same thing with certain RPGs. I just think core pillars, right, and new IPs that you've cultivated that are a hit need to stay in your ecosystem to give it the identity for people to come over.
Yeah.
Because if your games are available on other platforms, and yeah, it may sound nice now, but it comes back to us. Remember, is the console needed? And the console is needed.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, console is a conduit. So I agree with everything that you're saying. It's just one small part that I don't agree with, because it's core titles that have been birthed on your platform that are intrinsic to your DNA that should not leave. And it should always be just that. I didn't agree with Gears, but I don't run the company. I don't agree with Halo, but I don't run the company. And Gears showed you that it wasn't going to sell. It means nothing to them. It means everything to us. And when we have titles that means everything to us, those titles should stay there. Now, Forza Horizon, that should go, because it's a game that you're going to sell season passes to. It's a game that you're going to sell skins to car modifications. There's ways to monetize that, and there's nothing like it on that platform. But other titles, I don't think so. Until it turns into a quid pro quo, if you will.
That'll never happen.
And
what are they going to do? We're going to give them 5. They're
never going to do it.
One.
So no. 1 for 1, deal for deal, and blood for blood. Like it got to be blood for blood.
Tooth, all of that. Man, yes,
I get it, and I understand the idea. I would say that dollar-wise, the pillars, the big exciting games, are the ones that are going to make the most money when they go, right? Like they're the ones that we've already seen from Forza Horizon 5 going over there.
That is one of 13 or one of 17.
That was the biggest game, right? That was the biggest game.
Yes.
Gears was a old 20-year-old game, and to be clear, let's call a spade. That wasn't a remake. It was more of a remaster. It looked slightly better. but it wasn't crazy. This is the thing. I understand that as an Xbox content creator, it would behoove me to say, bring back the exclusive, baby. Yes, I want them. I need them. This is the problem. And to be clear, I'm not talking about anybody here on the panel, but for myself, just be very, very clear. I was that, right? I was all in on that. And then they changed the way they did things and made me see different. I did not put on an act. Okay. This was not C-Money's coping with exclusives going. So he's pretending to be okay with it. No, if you guys, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a businessman first, right? I own a business, run a business. I think about business all the time, every single day. So I was in the fun of exclusive talk and all that stuff because there was no other version of it, right? So it made sense. But once they kind of showed that what it meant, and when I started thinking about what it meant for me, right? Because again, at the end of the day, I could appreciate the war, but what I actually love is the games, right? So what I know that it means for me is that every dollar that those PlayStation people spend, that Xbox was never, ever, ever, ever going to get. Never were they going to get those dollars from those PlayStation players. When they get that money and they can take it back and give me more games in Game Pass,
it works great.
Bigger, stronger games. That's all I care about. That is where I am. So I know, listen, I know it's upsetting, and I know people in the chat are like, F the C-Money guy with this. No,
you're absolutely entitled to your opinion, and I think you have a lot of validity to your opinion. I disagree 100% with what you're saying.
I can't go back. I can't go back and pretend now that I can definitely go back. Exclusives. I'm not. I can't. I would be lying. It would be dishonest.
I was forced.
Yeah, you were forced. I was never. I would have been mad if it made sense to me, but they made it make sense. They made it make sense.
This is
once it made sense.
Listen, I have everything. I'm not upset at anything.
Right, exactly. I'm the same thing here, man.
A lot of times these guys actually think we are really upset or anything like that.
That's video games, man.
All right, get it together, guys. Like, that's not real. But I'm talking about for the entertainment part of everything. The entertainment part of things, it makes fun entertainment. But at the same time, I honestly, from what C-Money saying, hell yeah. Like, yo, let's make money off of them. Yeah, let's fund our fun.
They're paying for my stuff. That's all I want.
I'm down with that. Because if a game wasn't going to make money, but send it 5 years from now. That type of thing. Let them wait type of thing. That's how I feel. Like, you got Forza Horizon 5 years after the fact. Yeah, let them wait. Right? And if they can't wait, then you buy an Xbox. Yeah, I'm down with that. Right?
Well, listen, gentlemen, what I want to do is this. Second half of the show is what we're going to get to next. It's the biggest topic of the show. I think it has a lot to do with what we've already talked about. So you guys might actually, have to re-mention some of the things. But you'll come at it at a different angle. Before we get to that, though, I got to catch up on these ridiculous super chats, and we have 11 of them. So let me get to them. A big thank you to this chat for being so generous. It's Me, the Broke Boy, drops the first super chat of the day for $5, and he goes on to say, good morning. Pre-ordered Star Wars Galactic Racer for coming out October 6th. Now just waiting for the collector's edition to go up for pre-order, getting that one too. Yeah, that game looks dope. I saw the trailer. It looks really, really good. Day one for me. Collector's edition, no. Again, we're still saving for our first home, and these interest rates, if there's one thing to be mad about, have not gone down so we can get our freaking home. But it's okay. We're just going to keep saving.
Sometimes you just got to jump in, dog, because it's not like you're going to be locked in. You could just refinance in a year, my dude.
We're looking. We're hunting. We're not where we want to be just yet, but we're peeking around corners. We'll get there eventually. We've been doing it the right way, slowly but steady, but yeah, we're gonna eventually just have to dive in.
Also, it's your first home.
Your first home, yes.
you don't necessarily want to put all your eggs in that basket, because like the idea is you get your first home, it goes up in value, you have more equity, you sell that house, then you get the nicer house that you actually are trying to.
You know,
that
ideology is awesome, and it's the right way to do things if I was 30, but we're both going to be 56.
Boom, it doesn't take 20 years, dog. You do it in 3 years. 3 years.
The plan for us is to find the dope place, get the dope place, and this will be our final move from where we are now. And it's not a small apartment, it's a decently sized apartment, to our own place. So we don't have to, set up the studio, get locked in, be able to have my collectibles on display like King David behind him. Like you. There you go. That's it. The plan is the plan until it's not the
You'll see, he's looking for his final resting spot, and he doesn't know that is not going to be that, right? Because
you know what? Let us get there. When we get there, then we could, after 5 years, like, you know what? King was right. This isn't the final resting spot. We got to move on.
You're gonna see the equity build up in your house.
Crazy.
And then you're going to see that you're paying it down. So you're paying down, your value's going up, and that money's just sitting there. What do you want it to do? Just look stupid? No, you take that and then you reinvest it into a bigger, better, baby. Bigger, better.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is your, 5 minutes of financial times, thanks to these two fine gentlemen on the panel. But listen, salute to
that money, dog.
Yeah, listen, we're trying, definitely. Adidas 20, salute to you, kind sir. He says salute ginger ale, 98% right, and Olive Man.
God damn it,
in all caps. Thank you so much for that. Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, I was looking forward to Pikachu King David. LOL. Maybe we'll see. We will see, because those costumes, the hot dog one is just legendary. I'm just gonna say that now.
They're used to the Pikachu now because I'm playing Pokemon.
Okay.
And they got me into this Pikachu suit, so I'll be playing Pokemon today. Actually, wearing that Pikachu suit.
Oh, nice. I love it. Listen, anyone that's a fan of Call of Duty, which of course I am, thanks to an additional $2 super chat from It's Me, the Broke Boy. Black Ops 7 mid-season update is today and has a RoboCop event in it. Yes, sign me. Thank you very much.
They wish that I would.
I know. Well, and you have every right to be bent out of shape. They had you. They definitely had you.
Oops.
Sorry, they didn't bring the skins, and now see money's out. That's hundreds of dollars that they lost for sure, no doubt about it. Because I spent a lot of money on skins. But I wouldn't be surprised. Brett Bingham drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Would it be a shame that 9% of ponies that played Forza Horizon 5 on PS5 won't get Forza Horizon 6?" Just saying. I got some thoughts on that, Brett, and I think you're onto something, because the number. Look. You know what? Let me just finish the super chats, and I'm going to get into my spiel because I have a lot to say. Day Reezy drops a very generous $5 super chat. Salute to you, Day. Thanks so much for being here, brother, and thank you so much for the generosity. He says, "Morning Boom, peace and blessings, King. Hashtag bums get the boot. Hashtag PS no. Hashtag no PS6." Still in effect. Don't bother asking. C Money never shares his olives with mustard. How dare you not share those olives? Olives are delicious. That's horrible. Bingham drops an additional very generous $5 super chat. You never know. She could be listening. Asha, if you're listening, you need to pull the rug out from ponies like David Copperfield performing magic tricks. You're not welcome here. Yeah, I got some other thoughts on that as well, but those are R-rated, this is a PG-13 show. Thank you so much for that, Brett. J Max, salute to you, a fellow gray beard, drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says, Asha Sharma is going to ascend to a new level the moment she tells the world that exclusives are back in June. Starting with Gray Gears E-Day. Yeah, that's the big one, man. Again,
let me ask you this. Do you honestly think that if up until Asha was taking over, that if they were pouring resources and stuff into getting it out everywhere and, letting PlayStation know and doing all this stuff, like getting everything in line, do you honestly think that they're just gonna scrap it? Like they did that with Starfield, right? But like back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
Starfield sold like shit, though.
Like
You know what I'm saying? So
Halo,
it's
they already announced Halo's going over there. They already announced that Forza 6 is going over there.
Yeah, and they could also say no, where we've changed our mind, right? They could also do that. And you know what else? You know, to answer your question real quick, very simply, the numbers, which we're going to get into in a second. The eighth quarter in a row that they've been over 30% in console sale loss. So if you're trying to make relevant your console and you want people to buy in on your platform, both this generation and next, you got to stop putting your shit on other people's platforms. That's
Did she ever say that? Because I saw somebody.
She literally said that they are going to prioritize
the console, but not to sell to new people. She said she's going to prioritize the console for the players.
No, what she specifically said in that interview is that what they're doing, which had stopped, was bringing updates to Gen 9 hardware and getting people who want to play on that hardware, making it a good place to play. Meaning that to me screamed, we want new customers to, because the truth of the matter is that
way. I don't really hear her saying anything about new. I feel like her entire like marketing towards us is that it's about us. Not
about she's trying to get back the fans that they lost. Yeah, I mean, listen,
they were all focused on this is an Xbox, everybody. You don't have a console, no problem. Go do this, go do that, go do this. That's how you guys can play. But she's not marketing to anyone but us. That's all the words she's saying is directed to the Xbox.
I read that totally different. I'm going to be honest with you. And yes, she's talking to us because we're here. But she's also talking. She's gonna. There's gonna be a point. I mean, listen, we'll break it down in a second
with the topic for sure.
Let's see. Brett Bingham drops a third $5 super chat and says, "Ponies, but we are multi-platform. Darth Asha, yesterday's price isn't today's price. Yesterday was 70. Today's Xbox Series S plus 70. I like that. And it just reminds me of, because I'm Empire Strikes Back kind of a guy. You know, when Vader told Lando, pray that I don't change the deal further. Well, that's what they need to do here. Shine Films has been a channel member for 31 months. So Shine Films, thanks so much for that, brother. He says Xbox needs to put foot on their necks. Mostly exclusive, market the console, holiday bundles, etc., and act like you own Call of Duty. Yes, all of that in a bag of chips. I literally put a marketing campaign. Listen, I said this yesterday. Do I have it here? You know what? I'm going to get it. I'll show you in a second. So just so I can say what are the people or the former people that were drinking lattes and getting six-figure salaries doing, I made a Gears of War marketing campaign between cleaning my bathroom and doing my wash. And if I can do that at 55 years old, my old ass can put that together. I'm sure somebody at Xbox should have had the skills to put the same thing together. I'll show it to you in a second. It's probably one of my best work. And yes, I did use AI to generate the actual artwork on the box, but I put all the other layers in on behind it. Only on Xbox. I added all the stuff. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the truth, but I also know how to layer really well. But we also have a $10 super chat here from Patman Jones. So thanks so much for that, brother. He says, Asha says their number one priority is for Xbox consoles to grow. The console cannot grow if it's only console, if it's not the only console where you can get those exclusives. It's not worth damaging your consoles for pennies. We're going to get to that. I'm going to blow off your wig. I have the numbers.
I would like if somebody has it, because I feel like we broke down every interview like in detail on our channel. And I feel like I'm missing this part where Asha talked about selling the box to somebody else. I feel like I'm missing that part. I don't know where It is.
I'll
But if
find it too and I'll
anybody in
send
the
it to you.
chat has it, send it to me on Twitter or on Discord or whatever the fuck. Just I feel like I missed it somewhere, and I would like to know because it would help me.
Yeah, no,
understand
I have a couple of like I take screenshots and I use them in my videos. I'll send you what I have. I'll send it over. Mac22 in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat and says 100% C Money is dropping bars. So that's awesome. Good for
Thank
you.
Mac. Appreciate you, brother.
We also have I'm gonna ruin this poor person's names. It looks like it's SYNPZT Gaming drops not one but $2 super chat, and he says he says this: you guys are motivating me to do the Xbox work. Thank you, brother. Great to have you here. Thank you for the generosity. And yeah, it's a good time to be an Xbox fan because there's a lot to get excited about. Chris R55 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, if we do go back to exclusives, I think it would be for 2027. Games like E-Day were likely budgeted and anticipated with anticipated revenue from PlayStation 5, and the dev time for that platform would be a sunk cost. Again, I got some thoughts and I got numbers to back up my opinion, though.
The budget is real, Chris.
Like, no, yeah, absolutely.
The budget stuff is real.
Yeah,
when they go in saying, "Hey, you can spend this amount of money making this game because we're projecting this amount of sales from both sides." You can't just kind of be like, nah. You know
yeah, but you know what? 770.
It is what it is. You know.
No, but 700. Listen, Gears of War, even though it was old, even though it was done in Unreal Engine 3 and not a full-on Unreal Engine 5 port like we all thought, only sold 772,000 copies.
That's a lot of copies.
That's not when you have a near 100 million consoles in the market.
It's at what was it? $40. Gears was 40.
Like $40, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I have all the numbers. I'm gonna break down the numbers.
That's a lot of cash, bro.
It's not overall.
Dude, games on Xbox that are exclusive to Xbox don't sell 770,000 copies sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand the idea, but I feel like my biggest concern, all right, and I guess the question is, if this doesn't play out the way you guys are hoping it plays out, if Asha does not say everything's going to be exclusive, if it's only a timed exclusive situation on certain games, if that, what's going to be the outcome for you guys? Is it back to Xbox? How dare you guys not give me my exclusive? Or is it, well, I guess we're okay. We're exclusive, having exclusive.
You know what? Let me read this last super chat, and I'll answer that question with the numbers to back it up. Check this out. Alvin 9033 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, in the console business, nothing, and I mean nothing, is more important than your brand image. No amount of sleazy PlayStation money can replace that. So I'm going to segue chat and panel into numbers. Look, I've said this before, and I will continue to bang this drum. I really and truly appreciate people's opinions. Now, like C Money's, I respect his opinion, but I 1,000% disagree with it, because I think that exclusivity for your brand that you are trying to repair, that has been broken for years and has been broken for decisions that were forced. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't necessarily think that they were full-on Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond decisions. I think that those decisions to move to a platform that puts games here, there, and everywhere came from Satya and Amy Hood. That's my opinion on it. Now, I have said this before, and I will continue to, again, bang this drum. What they were doing failed and was not working. Xbox, in a platform that has a race of 4, is in last place right now. How do you build that brand? Well, listen, again, let's go into the numbers, right? So, we talked about Asha being on par and on point with responding to news that dropped. Well, what happened yesterday is we got the abysmal financials for Xbox's third Q or 3Q, right? Now, they were down in console sales, once again, 33%, right? They were down in hardware and services, really not terrible at 5%, but they were down across the board. So I have a quote, and again, I'm not going to show it on the screen because I have it for me to read, and I'm going to read Asha Sharma's response to this news, because this is negative news. And what did she do? She responded immediately by saying this, quote, Xbox earnings today. While we've made progress expanding the business and our margins, player and revenue growth has not yet met our ambition. We know we have work to do to earn every player today and into the future, right? Well, that she wasn't the only one that was talking, because somebody that's even higher than her, Satya Nadella, had a bunch to say on it. Now, I have a report here from okay, man, I don't have that on my screen. I moved it. All right, let me get to that. Hold on just a second. I have a report here from purexbox.com that that has a quote here directly from Satya Nadella. Now, this report was comes the way of Pure Xbox. It was written by Fraser Gilbert, posted yesterday. In its header, it says Microsoft CEO says Xbox is, quote, recommitting to our core fans as revenue falls in FY26 Q3. Now, here is what Satya had to say. And I'm going to read a little bit of the article, and then we're going to get into these numbers. In a follow-up to the results, Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella insisted that Xbox is, quote, recommitting to our core fans, and we are currently shaping the future of play with its new leadership, which includes being, quote, responsive to customer feedback. And this quote comes the way of the original report from Tom Warren of The Verge. And Satya goes on to say, quote, and you also see this in Xbox, where the team is recommitting to our core fan base and players and shaping the future of play. Last week's Game Pass changes are one example of how we are staying responsive to customer feedback, end quote. Now, C-Money talked about money, right? Like, actually talking about the dollars and cents of things. Well, before I hand the microphone over to him and King, I have numbers in front of me, ladies and gentlemen, and you know how I feel about this. Like, you've heard me say this before. I'm a numbers guy. I appreciate people's opinions. I may not, agree. I may disagree with your opinion, but I respect it because it's yours. It's your opinion. And even though we don't have the same thought process, it always makes for good conversation unless you're an a-hole or a troll. And when people are being disingenuous, you know what they get? They get the block hand, because I'm not going to try and have conversations on Twitter with people with anime pictures and no real life. So I'm not going to do that. But again, getting to the numbers, let's just start off with where the numbers are coming from. And they're coming from Analina Analytics. Now, you can take them or leave them, folks. I get it. But we do have some numbers. So let me break down some numbers here for you, right? Now, there are two games that stand out of the 16-plus games that have been sent over to PlayStation. And that is Forza Horizon 5 at 5.8 million copies sold and Sea of Thieves at 2.7 million copies sold. That's a lot of revenue. But my question, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today to the chat, to the panel. What amount of money is worth damaging your brand to the point where people don't even look your way when it comes to your platform in regards to hardware? That's the question that we have to ask here, because if we go down the line, and we will go down the line right now, the other games did not sell. Now, what they have listed here are the games that have sold over 100,000 copies on PlayStation. Now, you might be saying, well, that's a lot of copies. When you take a step back and you look at the fact that, and this is coming from the ponies, they continue to tout that they have nearly 100 million consoles sold, shipped, whatever pun you want to use. If you're only selling to 100,000 people on some of these games, that's not cutting the mustard, right? So let's go down the line. Oblivion remastered. Well, that's a multi-plat. It has been for years. That going everywhere should not be a problem. It sold 1.2 million copies on PlayStation. Grounded sold 770,000 copies to the 100 million potential customers on PlayStation. Next up is Gears of War Reloaded, 684K. Next up, and this one is a shocker, Doom the Dark Ages, 567,000 copies, right? Well, let's put up the other numbers. Indiana Jones, 537,000 copies, not even 1 million copies for that game. And it continues to drop off severely. Ninja Gaiden 4, phenomenal game, 262,000 copies on PlayStation 5, followed by Microsoft's Flight Simulator, 252,000, followed by, this is egregious on every level, Starfield, 207,000 copies of that game. That's it. Followed by Age of Empires Definitive Edition, 173,000, Outer Worlds 2, 163,000, and Age of Mythology Retold, 123,000. And Avowed sold so bad on PlayStation 4 that it's not even listed. So you might be asking, what is the amount of monies made from all of these games that I just read to you live on the air? Well, that came to $667 million for the total sales of all of these games. Now, here is where, now look, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to win a point here. What I'm trying to say, of the $667 million made, if you removed the two biggest ones, Forza and Sea of Thieves, you're talking about 15 plus games that did awful on a platform that has a potentially 100 million consoles in the wild. Whether they're active or in someone's basement, I don't actually know, but that is the number that's out there. I'll ask this question again to King David, and then we'll give the mic over to, of course, C Money. King, you and I have talked about exclusivity to death, right? I want Xbox to return to the Xbox 360 days. Maybe I'm a bot, and maybe that's my botness coming out, and I'm not going to apologize for being a bot. I'm just not, okay? Xbox is my brand of choice. What I'm trying to figure out is what amount of money is worth damaging your brand to the point where people will not buy your console. Because here's the real trick. By putting these games, something like, let's say, and you know what? I want to use the big four this year because I really think that it will drive my point home. If you take Halo, Gears, Forza, and Fable, and you put those four games onto PlayStation, how much do you think you're going to sell? The answer is I have absolutely no idea. But what I will say is what you are up against to get people to buy these four games are 85 to 90% of the owners of PlayStation 5 are normies. They're casuals. And thanks to a ton of facts out there and actual numbers, we know that those normies buy 1.7 games per year. It's less than 2. So you're asking these normies to buy these games over GTA, Madden, 2K, and whatever PlayStation has out. Like, for instance, Wolverine, Soros, MLB The Show. The current PlayStation audience doesn't even buy Sony's first freaking party games Why are they going to buy Xbox games? Why are you going to devalue your brand and continue to bang your head against the wall? They don't want your games. And the numbers that I just read live on the air prove my point.
I don't. Sadly, Boom, I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't think it does. The problem is that we're looking at one number, but how much did those games sell on Xbox? How much did those games sell on Xbox? How much did each one of those games sell on Xbox? Because I could go ahead and tell you that Age of Mythology, I didn't see the announcement from Xbox saying that it blew the roof. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem. I think what you're putting value on Microsoft's money. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing. I'll use it as a different level, right? We own a business. We do pretty well, right? I also do YouTube. Okay. I do YouTube, and I go ahead and get a $2 super chat. And do I look at that and say, comparatively, the scale is the same? Okay. Comparatively, right? So what they're making from those games on PlayStation versus what Microsoft makes in general, that scale is similar. I don't look at that $2 and say, fuck you, man, that shit means nothing to me. Or, damn, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But screw you, man, that means nothing to me, right? No, I'm like, hell yeah, $2. You know why? Because that $2 is still $2, right? It's still money that's piling up, that's added, right? Our dollars are going up. Xbox is a huge brand, right? But they're never going to take PlayStation's namesake away. PlayStation would always be PlayStation for the very reason, and I hate when people try to get on me for it, but for the very reason that you explained, it's the vast majority casual. The vast majority of them are casual, which, by the way, just to call a spade, the vast majority of people who own an Xbox are also casual. Okay. Both are the most true things. I just believe per capital, Xbox has more hardcore players than there are on PlayStation. But
yeah, so
there's not 40 million hardcore Xbox. I'm buying every game, right? We know that because the sales happen. How many people are playing Kiln right now? Probably not a lot.
But it's a single A developed game though, and
exactly. So putting that game over to PlayStation is going to be a great thing for it, right? It is there already, right? It's allowing the game to breathe, right? That's
also a multiplayer game, and that game at its core has no single player component whatsoever. So it's literally will live and die. There are certain games that could go over there that do make sense, but here's my point. And you know what?
But then where's the line, right? Then we're cherry picking games.
No.
You guys are not that fast. I don't need you on my team. I'll just take the fastest runners. That's it. Everything else, you go to play. We're multi-platform, except for this one little nook of an area.
But it's what Sony is doing. Sony says that they won't put their single player games over there.
All right, sorry, I'm not trying to overtalk you. This is the point though. We're talking about big business, right? Big business, big dollars that you don't understand, that I don't understand, that King don't understand, because we don't make Microsoft money, right? We're not making PlayStation money, right? We're not up there. But what I will say is that the only thing that matters to us, you, me, King, everybody, the gamers, are what we actually get, right? Our games, what we play, how we play them, everything that we have. So the real question is this: if you want Xbox to mimic what PlayStation is doing, understand that what you are saying is that you also want to mimic PlayStation players' lifestyle. Is that what you want? If you want Xbox to do what PlayStation does, that means PlayStation is giving their players something. That means you should be okay with Xbox giving us what Pleystation gives them. And I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Nah, I don't think it's a one-to-one.
They're spending crazy money.
I don't think it's one-to-one. And there, look, King, I'm going to bring you in, brother, but I have to add this for context. Okay.
Sorry.
I know.
No. Listen, this is a conversational podcast, brother. I absolutely love it. Again, I love the fact that we're on different sides of the line over here. Simply because I've said this before. My God, it's going to be the 100th time I say it, and I'm going to say it goddamn again. Right now, the brand that is going to win potentially the most out of GTA releasing this year is not PlayStation if Xbox doesn't keep banging their head against the wall. And what do I mean for that? Very simply, Xbox has the cheapest entry point into next gen. And we know that Call of Duty Modern Warfare, GTA, Madden, and NCAA 26 or 27 are going to be next gen only. If Xbox has the right people making the decisions, and I believe that they have made the change to do that, you cannot put all of your best shit onto someone else's platform and ask them to go out and buy a Series S. No, what you do is you make a console advertising Gears, Halo, Forza, Fable. You put it out there and you take a page out of the Xbox 360 book. You put on the big boy pants and stop trying to pander to everyone that doesn't want to buy an Xbox. You know why? Because
Xbox One. What happened to the Xbox One generation then? Because
what
did
about
exactly that. They
no,
had
but
Gears,
this is different.
Halo,
No, hold on a sec. The Xbox One generation did not have this amount of studios and first-party IP.
But those studios are not making big IP. They're all unknown IP. The big IP already exists everywhere. And you got Xbox, you have Halo, Gears. And
you cannot win people you cannot get customers into your ecosystem selling games on PlayStation. If hardware is important, and she's literally said that they want to grow hardware, current and next gen, how are you going to sell your current gen consoles if no one has to buy it because they could just keep playing on their PlayStation? No, you need to put something out there that makes people go, holy shit, that's an Xbox game? Well, I can play it on my PS5. What do you mean I can't play Gears?
That the dollars don't come from those Xboxes being sold, my dude.
That's because they have not even tried. You know what? Listen, we'll come back to you.
Yeah,
and continue your thought, King. I want to get your thoughts on this. Again, this is not heated by any stretch of the truth. This is pointed because, again, I think that there's an absolute way for Xbox to move forward by going back to what made them great back in the days. I think they're there. That's just my take. What is yours, man?
Okay, well, y'all both have great points, right? And listening to it and understanding it from a business proposition, money isn't wrong. The games, we talked about dead money on the shelf. We've talked about, Sony being absolutely ignorant to the point of their own demise.
Yep.
The fact that you have games and IPs that either you don't cultivate and bring back because they seem to love organic growth, but this is not true. And you have IPs there that can go to other platforms that can actually give you great sums of money. Or in C Money's case, any sum of money, because any sum of money is better than dead money. I absolutely agree with you, right? Because regardless to what, getting down that development cost and getting down the overhead for manufacturing all the time, everything that goes into making a game, marketing, manufacturing, distribution, everything that goes into it. To get that number down to where it costs you basically close to nothing is the greatest thing, right? So again, if it reached its ceiling on your platform, and you have the opportunity to reach other markets that would never come over. They would never go there. Because I know people that will never buy a Samsung and only buy an iPhone. So if you weren't putting your stuff on iPhone, then you would never reach that customer.
Right. Same thing the other way around.
Listen, this is absolutely the truth. This is why gaming agnostically is supposed to be the
but this
ideal
year's a bit
utopia.
different because there's an opportunity for Xbox to grab those customers coming from Xbox One and PS4. See, this is what I'm. See, that's what I was going with.
I understand exactly what you're saying, Boom. Now, the people that are interested for Xbox on that have originally has an Xbox One, those customers are being marketed to internally. Like if you have your Xbox One, you turn it on, you go to your dashboard, there is a damn near 50% off on you getting an Xbox Series X. And it be it either refurbished or brand new or whatever, that's coming straight from distributor. And that is the greatest way to market because they can see your trends and they can also know when you did your income tax and all that stuff. I already know how data works, right? And they see your spending trends, your habits, they have access to your bank accounts. You are a walking spreadsheet, whether you want to believe so or not. If the police can do it when they pull you over, they can see your finances, trust and believe Sony and them already got exactly what you got in your bank account. They know if you got extra cash to spend. All right. Xbox is, well, definitely Xbox. But to Boom's point, you want to gain as much people as you possibly can at this tail end of the generation. This has been a weird generation because it's the first time in gaming history. If this is your first generation, this is not normally how it goes.
Yeah, you're talking about the price increases, right?
This is it's baffling us old heads. It's baffling people that are in the marketplace. This is not supposed to happen this way. Normally, what's supposed to happen is supposed to be predictable. It's supposed to go through stages of shrinking the hardware, getting down to a place where the hardware is at a grab it and go $200 type of thing. Now, what I feel that I can help Boom along with his argument is this. If Asha is truly serious about them wanting to stabilize Generation 9.
Yes.
Then subsidize the Series S. Subsidize the Series S, not the X. Subsidize the Series S right before Grand Theft Auto comes out. Drop Series S down to $250 cash and have a promo that they can get a discount on Game Pass or whatever inside the box. That's how you stabilize this generation. Because again, the lower you put the barrier of entry to get into Generation 9 is the easier you are to win. I figured at this point in time, the Series S will be $200. And it will be a cop and go, and you will see a spike in people jumping over to get to this generation. Those people that can splurge on a PlayStation 5 Pro or a Series X, they're already here. They are here. They're not the people that are holding out waiting for a reduction in price. They have already made the jump. So the people that are sitting there are still waiting for a reduction in price, or they're still playing live service games, or it hasn't been a title compelling enough to make them make that jump. So again, there's two things that needs to be in play. If you're serious about stabilizing Generation 9, you have to either subsidize the Series S, which is the lower barrier of entry, and that is what is under your control. This is what you can control. Two, the most important game of our generation is about to be launched this year. If you can secure marketing rights to that game, you can plaster the picture of that game all over terrestrial television, all over the internet. You can have every influencer having an Xbox. And this is the more costlier thing than subsidizing your own box. All right? This is the most costly part. Whereas regardless of what, Grand Theft Auto is going to sell on your device anyway. And inadvertently, when you market and you get marketing rights for a game without getting a lockout, you are marketing for the competition as well. But get the marketing rights. Plaster the game all over the place. Make sure that at the beginning and the end, the Xbox logo is there. Make sure that it's synonymous with the Xbox brand. Show the lineage of Grand Theft Auto and Xbox, how it walks hand in hand. And this is exactly what you want to do. I honestly feel, and as a business guy, from a business perspective, if you want to get some type of stabilization, if you want to see a spike going into the next financials, when it comes to hardware, software, and services, there's no better time than to subsidize your series console, your S, not the X,
right
now. Because if they don't have $400 for the Series S now, they're not going to have $500 for the Series X.
Of course.
But if you
They also not
subsidize
going to have a way into PlayStation.
right. So if you subsidize the S, you put PlayStation in such a state of panic, a state of shock, that, again, anybody that's looking to get Grand Theft Auto, and this is how you run your commercials. Want Grand Theft Auto 6? $250, end the game, walk out the door, you're good. You're golden. You're not trying to
you take loss up front to get gains on the back end.
You're going to get the gains because they're going to get Game Pass. You're going to see the return off investment, but you're not going to beat them at their own game. You have to do and be who you are. You have the larger bank, and the only way that you're able to get people in that has not made the jump is you got to show them value. If you want to get back the core people that you lost last generation, this is your perfect opportunity to do so, because once Grand Theft Auto comes out and the barrier of entry is only $100 to $200, well, then you're not going to be the popular choice. You're not the good-looking girl. Remember that. Remember, you have to be able to be you're not the handsome guy. You have to be able to dance like Fred Astaire. You got to be able to smell delicious. You got to be able to be the best that you possibly can be. You got to be funny, so funny that she forgets that you're ugly. The same thing if you're a girl. You got to be funny. You got to be able to cook. You got to be able to do all those things to make sure that he forgets you're ugly. We're the ugly duckling, right? Get it together. Know who you are, but know you got bank, right? So when you take them out, you make sure you're taking the roof crisp, you make them feel good, you make them feel great, and quite possibly they'll put a ring on it. But if you go in there trying to do the same old strategies, it's not going to work. And this is the only time this year. Your titles have not made them jump over. Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable has not made the move. There's one title that can make them make the move, but you have to make that title so enticing that the price has to be right. Subsidizing the Series S is your only option in order to grab it, and it's a cheaper option than paying influencers, doing all this marketing, and doing everything else.
Can I add some additional context to what you're saying? Because first of all, we're gonna get C Money's point. I have a question for him specifically that I know he's going to be able to answer. But you see, when is Grand Theft Auto? Well, that'd be November 19th.
Yep.
How many games, major AAA first-party games, will be released before then? Probably all of them, right? Yeah. Except for Call of Duty, which is going to probably be late November. It could even, a week after, 2 weeks after, maybe it's a week before Grand Theft Auto, but we know that it's going to be sometime in November. We have Forza Horizon 6 dropping next month.
Might be late October this year.
Right. It's possible. Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that.
They're smart. They're better.
Yeah. You also have, what else? You have the rumor is that Halo Campaign Evolved July, right? Now, Fable, we don't know. Gears is rumored for September. That's the rumor, right? For Gears of War E-Day. That's 3. That's your 3 major bangers right there. That's your.
And Wolverine's in September, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So if Wolverine is coming out, you got to put your own badass exclusive out there, and of course, that exclusive would be Gears of War E-Day. But check this out. If there's one thing that I can take away from today's conversation, I think even though me and C Money are on different sides on exclusivity and how you bring that back, I understand. From a businessman's point of view, I understand and agree with C Money's assessment on, well, you're getting money from this other place that, it's guaranteed money. I totally understand that. But if you are trying to build your brand again, And you know, there was a super chat here. Let me just pull this up because it's actually a really good point. It's from Be Nice in the chat. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. I mean, I'm going to come to you right now, C Money. Be Nice said, "What is the return of Xbox if they stay full multi-platform? A couple of commercials, tweets, screen UI. How do you sell new high-priced box with no exclusives?"
Better box.
And I think that's that. I think
you sell it on a trailer. You
nah,
sell it, if you buy the Helix, this is what it looks like. If you buy a PlayStation, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, you know what? Let me ask you. Let me ask you this question. First of all,
go ahead.
You had a dynamite point, and I understand from a businessman's point of view why you landed in where you landed. But Simon, I got to ask the question here, and here it is. Would you say fairly that the Xbox brand is damaged?
I would say no.
Okay, and I'm shocked by that, but okay, that's fine. If you don't believe so,
the brand exists outside of the tiny percentage of people who come to shows like this who think that their voice is the only voice.
No, I don't think it's the only voice. It's a voice, though.
Well, but meaning they say the brand is damaged, but it's not. The same every single month. There's been no 0 months. People are buying Xboxes every single month, right? It's not at the same level as a PlayStation. Why? Because we already know PlayStation, the brand is the brand. That's just the one. It always has been.
But what if there were games you could only play on Xbox that were bangers?
Say that again?
What if there were games that you could only play either on an Xbox Series X?
How do you know they're bangers? Boom. How do you know they're bangers?
You don't think Gears of War E-Day is going to be a banger? Forza Horizon 6 is going to be a banger?
I'm already here. What you're talking about is to get somebody to buy a console.
Yes.
How do they know it's a banger? What, a review?
No, they go out there and they do marketing from the Xbox. You know what? Let me throw this up on the screen. Sure. Folks, you got to remember, I don't have the skills of an artist, so of course I use a little bit of AI to help. But I'm not even joshing, folks. In between of doing my wash and cleaning my bathroom, I put this together. Let me throw this up on the screen. Now, if you are someone that is walking through your Walmart, your super Walmart, you get your milk and your bread and your eggs, and you see this on the right Gears of War E-Day box that, like King said, is $250 out the door. Right, $300.
Oh, not a custom console.
You're gonna look at that. No, I'm saying, but again, it made a custom console. It could be just a regular white one. I don't care. But I'm saying this artwork on the box is that Xbox 360 era energy. How about this one? I did two. I did one of each of the S that's on the top, and I did one of the X on the bottom of their three pillar titles. This is the kind of marketing that I don't understand how a 56-year-old man who's doing his wash and cleaning his bathroom could come up with, and the people at Redmond getting six-figure salaries can't figure this shit out. If you want change and you want to bring your brand back, this is what you do. And it's just my thoughts on it.
This is the thing. What I know is that I see those boxes and I think they look dope, right? Because I know what those games are, right? I understand them, and it's exciting for me to see Marcus Phoenix, okay? The person who hasn't decided to buy an Xbox ever, I can promise you, can give two shits about Marcus Phoenix, right? I appreciate what you're saying, and yes, to a core player who loves Xbox already, those are all fire. Right, the one that has the most chance is maybe Horizon, right? Because it's a universal language, cars, right? Has nothing to do with guns or blowing up or military army men or any of that stuff. The Horizon box, yes, you put that out there, it's definitely a much better situation. The other ones are you're preaching to the choir, right? What you guys are saying is you're not doing what you're saying. What you're doing is preaching to the same group of people who are already here. You're not getting new people by putting a Gears of War box out there. You're not.
Sure, you are. If you
buy games based off box art, You know what I'm saying?
No, but I'm saying you go back to the Xbox 360 days where
not there, dog. Like,
but they would but they could return.
You
but
can't
see,
go back to a place. That's like saying, you know what? Let's go back to the 50s. No matter how hard you build it in,
but what you're suggesting is that they keep doing what they're doing. They're banging their head against the wall. Let me ask you this.
But they're not.
They absolutely are.
Sold.
Here's my
consoles sold.
Here's my question.
Sure.
If the leadership was doing a bang up job, would Phil Spencer have retired and Sarah Bond not given presidency of Xbox? What they were doing.
They did it because of this is an Xbox marketing. Okay. That thing confused people. And I said it many times. I understood it right away. So to me, the entire idea was stupid that people were having a problem with it. But the rest of what's happening now proves that the same group of people who had a problem then are the same people that are now. It's hard for me to wrap my head around these people who are so confused by this. But this is an Xbox. A lot of people took that as don't buy an Xbox. No,
the numbers prove that.
Anybody who can think about it for a second will look and see that what they were saying is, hey, you Xbox owner, you want to go ahead and play your stuff other places because you own the games that we're selling you and you have Game Pass and we're putting it everywhere. You have access to your Xbox from any device. Yes, that's what made sense to me. It also showed me if you were somebody who could not afford an Xbox, if you cannot afford to spend $500, then yes, your phone is an Xbox if you go ahead and subscribe to Game Pass, right? Or you go and buy and play Xbox Anywhere games or whatever the case. That is what I saw from that, but that's not what other people saw. And I don't know if it's genuine or if people were just pissed because they're concerned about the idea of the box, right? And look, I understand 100% that feeling, right? That sentiment people have for this. Maybe it's because I am a gamer first, right? As much as I love Xbox, if Xbox tomorrow told me, hey, you know what? Game Pass is done. Game Pass is done. We're not doing Game Pass anymore. I got to tell you, my gamer first instinct is, okay, cool. That means I will 100% be doing all of my gaming on PC for sure. Like if I got to buy games, that's where I'm going to buy them. I'm not going to buy them where they're trapped on a box. Okay. I want to be able to do anything, anytime. So I'm never going to let that dictate me. And I know I get it. And trust me, I know the confusion because I have an Xbox channel just like you guys. And I know that it's like, well, man, Xbox Frank's, he's not, doing this, right? See, when he's not getting it, he's not understanding what we want. I understand, but I can't pretend that I'm like, I can only talk for me, right? I can only talk for me. I can't pretend for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't put on an act that say that I give I don't care. I bought PlayStation 5s up until this last one, right? Because no matter what, if there's a game that I love, I want to be able to play it. That's why I have a Switch 2 right there. Do I consider myself a PlayStation fan? No. Do I consider myself a Nintendo fan? No. But if there's a game that piques my interest and I could play it there, I will play it there. I just can't pretend to give a crap. This is the thing. And look, people are learning a lot about me right now. None of this stuff is acts. When I go ahead and I talk about PlayStation people annoying me because they come and they tell you, hey, but PlayStation console sales.
Yeah,
but the PlayStation console sales
has nothing to do with them.
Be annoyed with ponies talking about their sales and say that sales don't matter, and then spend the rest of the time telling me why Xbox console sales matter. And you can't have it both ways. So you're either saying that console sales do matter, and that every pony who goes on Twitter talking crap about how their console sales proves that nobody cares about Xbox and Xbox is dead and Xbox is trash. That's what you are co-signing if you are sitting here saying that if Xbox doesn't get their console sales up, that it's a problem for you, the player. And I don't understand how that can be. If I'm a player and I'm playing my games and I get these games in Game Pass, if I get them in Game Pass, I don't got to pay a penny outside of my freaking now reduced cost of Game Pass. Now they're giving me even more. I was already making $2 on this deal. Now I'm making $10 a month across each subscription. So I got 3 subs. I'm making $30 a month off of this reduction. If I am going to be legit, because I can't be fake and go out there and talk shit about a pony and then say that, in fact, what the pony is saying is true.
There's two different.
Say it matters. And
that's two different. There's a difference. There's absolutely a difference from someone touting sales and an Xbox player saying,
but what do you want Xbox to sell for? Just let me. Well, how does them selling?
Well, it doesn't matter. But you're asking how you bring the brand back. You don't bring the brand back by doing what you were doing.
But to who is it gone for? Did it leave for you? Did you guys all of a sudden hate Xbox? You're done with Xbox? You weren't playing it no more?
But this is what leadership is saying, though. They're saying that they want to return. They want the return of Xbox. I didn't say that. Asha Sharma said that.
They want the return of Xbox, meaning the focus on the box on their customers. That's why everything that I read, and listen,
So what you're saying is new customers don't matter, but just keep selling to the same customers.
I don't care who they sell to. I care.
But I'm just saying, like, if she's saying that, yes, we want to return to Xbox, we want to cultivate.
Xbox
we want to
number one. Just to be clear, so you can't say return to Xbox and think that meant that they are talking about being number one in console sales. They weren't number one.
No, I never said that. I never suggested that. They don't have to be number one.
Surpassed it. So what is the goal of it? And this is the reason I'm saying, and I'm sure you all, King and Boom, you know very well, right? When things went sideways with Xbox, right? When everybody was pissed about Xbox, everything changed, right? Everything changed for your channel. Everybody's channel took a dip because Xbox bad, right? Now, what we're trying to do now is say that if Xbox doesn't get into exclusives only, okay, if they don't get into
I didn't say that.
Not exclusives only. I think you misconstrued in my point, because my point is, stop taking your core titles and placing it someplace else. You need a brand identity in order to have an actual life cycle that actually matters. You could do the live service games. That could work. That doesn't matter. You do have that stuff, and you can have those occasional AA titles that you do, or single A titles that you could place all over the place, like South of Midnight. But core titles, core pillar franchises need to be intrinsic to the box. So
what is that? Halo, Gears, and Forza?
Listen,
they're already there, though.
Let me just add some context to what King is saying.
Yeah.
What if In Exile's game is generational? Right? We don't know, right? What if it hits? What if Clockwork Revolution hits like BioShock? Let's just say. And those are, granted, high shoes, right? Big sizes to wear, right? But what if it's a generational title? It hits like BioShock, and that's done by In Exile, who's owned by Microsoft. That becomes a generational title that's identified by who? By players of every ilk on Xbox. Putting that game anywhere else is a mistake, because you're chasing ultimately what got them in trouble. And I'll continue to bang this drum. They were chasing customers they didn't have, and they forgot about the ones that they did. And that is why they made changes at leadership. And that's why things are being said to not only cultivate us that are here, people that left, but new customers that they could bring in the door specifically this year, because of how many people, quote, are going to be forced to upgrade from Xbox One S and S, and also PlayStation 4 and Pro. They're going to have to upgrade from those old hardwares to new hardware, and Xbox has an opportunity. This is the business hat I'm wearing. If you have the cheapest entry point into next gen,
they already do.
They absolutely do.
But they already do. Boom is what I'm saying. They already
There
do.
was no reason to upgrade before, but now they have to.
But
That's
meaning
the
they
difference.
already do with no other. Understand what you're saying is a multi-platform game. Grand Theft Auto is going to be the catalyst for people moving from previous gen.
It's a
Xbox
combination.
already has the cheapest point of entry to do so. So that bridge has already been crossed. There's nothing to gain by making it cheaper. If people are going to buy a new console to play Grand Theft Auto 6, you don't need to make it 300. You don't need to make it 250. You don't need to make it 100. You don't need to lower it $1, because if the dollars are the only thing that matters to a person to get into this generation, Microsoft is already there at the 400 with the Series S. You will be giving away free money. These people are going to go anyway. If you're saying,
I think you're missing the point.
So where would they go then?
The point is, you have to make value so bombastic in 2026 that people sit back and say, holy shit. Again, this is we could be here for 3 hours and we really can't be. But what I'll say in closing, is there is an opportunity for Xbox, who is not on their back heel. They are standing straight up on their 2 feet. PlayStation right now is on their back heel for a multitude of reasons, whether it be the console prices being going up, whether it's the DRM, whether it's no first party, whether it's stupid comments from people from PlayStation themselves. They're on their back foot. Are they still selling consoles? Yes. Is that important to me? I don't care. But what I'm saying is that if you want the return of Xbox, this is the year to do it. How do you get there? Well, this might go down as the greatest year of Xbox first party's life history.
Exactly.
You're having Gears, Halo, Forza, Fable, Call of Duty, and you have a couple of small ones like Kiln and Minecraft Dungeons that are going to be in there. That is what we know. There could be a surprise, maybe there isn't. But with those games, a cheaper console, meaning that they subsidize the Series S, like King said, you drop it to 3, you make some box art like you did in the Xbox 360, and what's going to happen? You go back to see none of us mentioned this, and I cannot believe I actually forgot it. Microsoft's Achilles heel has been their horrendous, God-forsaken marketing for years. If you are going to do anything,
they've been crushing it right now.
Well, that's because you're seeing different things now. I'm saying that if they want, look, this is an opportunity for Xbox. I've already said it. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I don't care that they sell
the best
consoles.
Case scenario for a lot of people is exclusives come back, so that they can go ahead and say, yes, we got exclusives.
What do you mean by exclusives?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I'm trying. That's the part I'm talking about. I know for a fact that they can't cross the Rubicon. It's already been crossed. It's already there. Once I establish a pipeline to get cash, I'm not throwing cash. I'm not doing that. All right. I'm gonna get this bread. All right. So let's not get all crazy with it. Like, oh, you get nothing. No, that's just me having fun with it. Right. Because I will give them Popeye's biscuits. She'll starve.
But some of them are not seeing the fun, and they think that is legit the way that it needs to be in order for.
I never suggested that. I don't think it has to be that.
Does. It's not the people on the panel that is the issue, because we are more in the know than most, right? It's the people who go ahead and they look at these things, and then this becomes the mantra for them. Exclusive. Bro, if you're talking about only the core games, right? Like you said, King David, right?
Yeah.
Right, only the core games. You got Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, maybe? Okay, cool. After these games come out, what are the next core games?
I mean, they have a ridiculous lineup, though. I mean,
nothing else with name cachet, right?
Oh, I don't know so much about that.
IP.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's Halo, Gears, Forza. Those are the ones. But guess what? Once they're out, they're out. You ain't getting another one for years, my friend. So what is gonna happen? What are we arguing for? Something this small group of games that they own that are core. You can't say Clockwork Revolution is core. That game could come out and be okay, right? We don't know. What defines core is something with a record, right? Everything with a record is never coming back. Call of Duty, Minecraft, all the big shit is gone. Now you have Halo, Gears, Forza. Halo is already coming out on PlayStation. Gears already came to
I'm talking about scrap that. That's what I'm talking about.
Can they?
Me too.
Sure.
Yeah, they could. I'm talking about scrap that.
They changed their whole pipeline for Halo for this reason, to make Unreal 5 the base for it, so they could hire people easily, and so that they could easily put this game everywhere with no problems.
But they shouldn't.
No, they didn't do that for that. They didn't change the engine for that. The problem with
the secondary, I feel like is there's a part to it. It
makes
it easier.
Well, it makes it easier for people to come in and know the engine.
For sure.
Because again, the problems with 343 now Halo Studios is legendary. It's a wonder why that studio isn't closed, and it's only because of the cachet of Halo. That is the absolute only reason why that studio is still functioning. Because if you can shut down the initiative, and that's because it had no game to fall back on, to say, yo, we did this. You understand? If you could walk back Perfect Dark, trust and believe, getting to Unreal Engine 5 was probably the best thing for that title. They can honestly walk back Halo. They can walk back any thoughts of Gears. I don't think they should walk back Forza Horizon. But again, does this stuff really matter? Because, see, you're speaking complete knowledge, right? The game comes out. All right, it did it. It's here. It's exclusive. Now what? Where we at with it now, right? Like, what we do now? Because what's the next ones we're going to say no to? Like, what are we going to point to say no to that? Like, we got something big down the pipeline? Okay, so what now, when it's sitting there and it's not making money, now what happens? Where you at now? Because you're back at the same spot. And I get what you're talking about when you say no subsidies because you're already the lowest entry point. Why meet them and they didn't want to come over to begin with, right? Exactly. I get what you're saying. Everything that you're saying is absolutely true. Everything Boom is saying is absolutely true. They need to have different marketing. We know marketing has been kind of bad. Not kind of bad. It's been horrendous in some
horrendous at best,
right?
Yes,
and this is no knock on Greeny. Greeny is out there doing the work. What I'm talking about is it's the marketing and distribution. Distribution has been poor.
Messaging has been terrible. There's a lot of blame to go around.
Of stuff that's you can point to a lot of different things, but to see money's point again. Console sales. If we're going to go at ponies for always pulling console sales out of their behind, then we can't yell out console sales as well. Talking about that is necessary. But I know we're not going to get to the topic of financials. But
no, we're not going to get there.
But I'm just going to say this part, or when it comes to the financials, we can't say that console sales don't matter, and it doesn't matter to us. It matters to them. Right? Because when you put hardware and services and you're starting to look at a 35% end over end or 36% end over end yearly after year of not gaining and always declining, and you got to figure out how to stop the bleeding. Well, how to stop the bleeding, you have to get back to the core of what the franchises are. And what the franchises and the brand is, you're looking back at a point of where health is. Health was when you had titles that made sense, when you had marketing that made sense, and you had distribution that made sense. Messaging is always going to follow those things. I think Xbox is healthy. C is right when he says they're not as sick as we think. It's perception. Everybody's perception is their reality. At the end of the day, Xbox is hitting it out the park. They're doing the right things now. It's not going to change in 1 quarter. It's not going to change in 2 quarters. Right. It's going to have to be a year-on-year type of thing. We have to go ahead to revisit this next year at this time to see exactly what Call of Duty did outside of Game Pass.
Yep.
And to see how the restructuring of Game Pass and with all the deals and stuff put in place. So everybody wants a quick fix. They want a quick turnaround, but it's not going to be there. But again, I'm pleased to have been here today. I love the difference of opinion, and I love of understanding that we can have a difference of opinion but still agree with each other, right?
Yes,
So,
100%. Yes.
So I just
100%.
want the people that's in the chat to understand this. We don't get upset.
No.
This is a hobby, and but for us as journalists, content creators, and brand ambassadors, when it comes to our channels, are focused on Xbox. We're looking for what's best for Xbox, and we're coming from it from different angles to give y'all a better perspective. So you're not being just led astray out here. Because, you know, a lot of times you look at other people and they're compromised. I can tell you that we're not compromised.
No.
We're not paid
We're also
for
not
by
grifters
Xbox.
either.
Right. We're not paid by Xbox. We don't get checks from Xbox. We actually do this for the love of it and actually, you know, you guys. So I just wanted to say that piece on that part, because if they say that we didn't talk about financials, we just had spirited conversations.
It just was a lot. Yeah. Right. Again, you know, it started out as a regular, like, hey, we're going to be here for 30, you know, for 115 minutes, and it just exploded. Look, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to catch up on every super chat, but I want to let these guys get out of here because they obviously they have lives to lead. So we'll start first. See Money, Sell the Brand, brother. Where could people subscribe to the consistently growing On Point for Gamers? What you got going on? And more importantly, where can people follow you and the missus on the socials?
Well, first of all, thank you, Boom, for having me, man. It was definitely fun as always. Miss being on the show. It's been a while.
Yes, too long.
Yeah, with my schedule right now, sometimes Thursdays are just gonna mess me up. But
it's okay, man. Listen, we appreciate you being here.
You know, yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, as far as my channel, well, first of all, find me here on Thursdays, 12 p.m. Xbox Live. And then our channel On Point for Gamers. We have 3 shows we do a week. We have Tuesday nights at 8, Friday nights at 8. Those are our talk shows. And then Thursday night, which is tonight, we do our We Doing It Live, where I play a medley of games. Go through a bunch of the games that are either just released or some devs sent me something that they want me to play. I'll play it there and then I break it out later. But it's a good time to just come and play games, right? Like that's what we're here for. And we were lacking that on my channel, and I wanted to fix that, right? I wanted to make sure we get back to the point where, yes, all this other stuff is cool, and obviously we're going to comment on everything going on in the industry and everything that's happening, but I don't do this for to have a YouTube channel. I do it for to play games, you know what I'm saying? And I just that's what I love about gaming, is being here, hanging out with the homies and talking crap and playing some games. That's where I love that's where it's at. So tonight we got definitely a slate of games ahead of you. I don't have them 100% because there's so many that I have to kind of sort which ones. But we're definitely going to be playing a good amount of games tonight. So 8 o'clock ish, 8 o'clock ish. I got to throw out there. Check out the channel. I don't have the link, but it's On Point for Gamers. We're the only one. So it's very easy to find us over on YouTube.
Nice.
And appreciate you guys.
Well, brother, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see if we see you next Thursday. But remember, brother, just there's no pressure. If you could be here, awesome. If not, we'll work it out.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right, brother.
King.
Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Peace.
King.
Boom.
Let's sell the brand, brother.
Chat.
Where can people? There you go, Ryan. King, sell the brand of not only ILP, which they don't really have to sell the brand. I mean, you guys are, you're ILP for crying out loud. But of course, you have your channel, which we want to sell, which, by the way, has crossed 10K. And congratulations, brother. That is see, folks, I say this all the time. If you want to follow anyone and be inspired, it's what they do on ILP, and that's what you should do. That's what hard work looks like. Hard work gets you in the door. Hard work gets you to Japan. Hard work will get them to Germany. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel and check you guys out on Sunday?
Well, okay, so you can check me out on IOP. That's on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This weekend, Sovereign should be in his One Punch Man suit.
Nice.
Yes, it's been long awaited, and it's actually happening. But you can catch me on Xbox Frontline News, where I go live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Friday being a special day where we have Fight Night Fridays, where we jump into all types of competitive fighting games, Street Fighter, City of Wolves, Guilty Gear Strive, and such. But also during the week, I will be playing, Pokemon, because again, somebody has gotten me to play Pokemon, and I wear my Pikachu suit. So
I love it.
It's absolutely crazy. It's fun. You guys get over there. And on the weekends, I drop videos for members. They get those like 20 hours ahead of time. So you will have 7 days of content when it comes to going to Xbox Frontline News. That is a great thing. And like Boom says, I crossed 10,000, but that isn't without this great community. You guys are fantastic. You guys come out and support. When I changed from doing videos to going live, you guys came out in droves and your support. So I am nothing but appreciative. And like Boom said, we're going to Germany this year. And we went to Japan last year to go to Tokyo Game Show. This year, we're going to Germany for Gamescom. But next month, 2 months from now, this month is almost over, in June, we'll be at Summer Games Fest, where you see Mr. BoomStick and myself and C-Money and all the wonderful content creators that are in the Xbox community and other communities as well get together, do content, get all the stuff that y'all need and want to hear about. If you can't make it there, we'll be there for you. We're your eyes, ears, and we're definitely going to deliver that
vicariously through us.
Thank you. But Boom, I appreciate you for getting me here. And listen, I just barely got in the house when I jumped on, and we talk all the time. And I'm trying to get back here to get on the show with Boom, because Boom is my brother. Yes. And he gave IOP he steals cars. But he gave IOP our boost, our signal boost when we was starting out, and I'm forever grateful for that. And Boom has always gave a platform for individuals to come on to talk and have great conversation. So this is another one that went down with great conversation, even though
it did.
I was a minor part to it. I got a chance to witness and listen, because a lot of times people don't want to listen, and I'm one of those people that do want to listen.
I think we can always have difference of opinions, but still walk away brothers.
Yes, definitely.
Just like real brothers. Like, you may not agree with what your brother is doing, but you understand what he's saying. See, that's the difference. Yes. I understand you. I don't agree with you, and that's okay.
And we still go on from there.
Yep.
But love you, Boom.
Love you too, brother. We'll talk.
All right. Blessings.
All right. Chat. Let's get to these super chats. Apologies. It's short. Look, this was probably my favorite episode of the year. I podcast 5 days a week. No, I don't get paid by anybody. I get review codes. Yes. Do I get invited to things? Absolutely. Do I take this serious, where I'm going to get offended at someone's opinion that's different than mine? No. I'm going to be 56 years old in September, ladies and gentlemen. I do this for fun because I've been retired for 12 years. And I've made a channel out of a hobby, and it's become a small business. And Mrs. Boom and I do a lot of giveaways, and we try to give back as much as we can. And I do a lot of work. I work on this channel 7 days a week, and I have a lot of fun doing it. Now, do I work on the channel 8 hours a day like a real job? No, I don't do that. But I spend a lot of time perfecting how I present myself to the public. And there's been a lot of really new names here. Listen, if you're enjoying it, we are just about 100 and change away from 17K, which is a really big deal. And if you notice, I don't curse. I try not to. I will say the S word, but I try. I will not. Do not like dropping the F bomb. Not because I'm afraid of it. We have a PG-13 channel. That's what we do, and a lot of dads and moms listen to this with their kids. So it's what I've been told. But listen. Let me just catch up, and then we'll get you guys and gals out of here. Snaps TV Gaming drops a very generous additional $5 super chat. And he says it's Snap's TV boom. By the way, that June showcase cannot come fast enough. Boy, and says I'm calling it now. We hear Asha call out some sort of exclusivity. Yeah, look. Again, C Money, that's my brother. I completely understand from business point of view where he's coming from, but I totally disagree. And do I care about console sales? The answer is I do not. That was never the goal of the conversation. Xbox is going to put games on PC as they should, because PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC. That's not going to change. And PC is the biggest audience, so they do not need PlayStation. That's just, again, it's just my old man's point of view. If you don't agree, that is okay. So thank you so much for the generosity, brother. Be nice. And this, we read this before. What is return of Xbox if they stay full multi-plat? Couple of commercials or tweets, screen UI. How do you sell new high-priced box, no exclusives? I mean, look. How do you sell your console? As a matter of fact, look, you know what's funny? I just sent myself something, and I don't want to spend too much time here, but Xbox just announced that they're doing this game dev update, spring 2026, and what's there? What's on the cover of this new marketing thing that they're going to do? It says GDC speakers will also dive into Xbox developer tools, DirectX slate of the Union, Xbox Marketplace update, and GDC highlights. What's there? Well, the Series X and S are there. They're front and center because they want to sell that console, and they wouldn't put that there if they weren't trying to sell to new people. They know they have us. We're here already, but listen. So appreciate that. Be nice. Smokey in the chat, who's been, wow, this is crazy, folks. He's been a channel member for 61 months. I mean, Smokey, that is just insane generosity, brother. Thank you so much for continually support, what we do here. He says, we are in the minority. Xbox needs to pick their battles when it comes to multi-plat development. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, look, I'm an OG. I think exclusives matter. I've always thought it. I've never really liked the idea of multi-plat, but I understand the business point of view. But what I can say is I'm a numbers guy, and those numbers that I read to you early, outside of 2 games, failed. 2 games made money for them, and that's it. Everything else failed. We have, let's see, It's Me, the Broke Boy, drops a very generous, well, he drops a couple of super chats. The first one of $10. So, Will, thank you so much for that. He goes, I'm with C on this one. At least we have estimates for PlayStation. We have no clue, quote, estimates or actual for Xbox. We know players, how many people on Xbox actually bought the game, not played on Game Pass. I mean, that's true. I mean, I hear you. And this is the transparency that was not there during Phil's reign. And I always hated that. I didn't like the idea of not knowing the numbers. I know he didn't like talking about the numbers, but the numbers are important. Not for me, like I'm trying to win any war. I'm not console warring, folks. I don't care. I have Xbox Game Pass. I buy all my stuff on Xbox. I have multiple Xboxes. I'll buy the new one too. I also have a PlayStation 5 and a Switch too. So I play everything, but I prefer Xbox. Will drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, if Xbox players aren't supporting by purchasing it, and I'm guilty in many cases as well, where else can Xbox get the money? Well, he says Game Pass money goes to all studios. That is true. But you have to make it. See, again, this is messaging. This is marketing. Game Pass is the greatest deal in gaming. That's it. And I will say this. Former leadership failed to sell Xbox Game Pass. Who's that on? Is that any one person? No, their marketing team was terrible. And it has been for years. Their messaging for Xbox has been nothing short of god-awful. Everyone knows that. I'm not being insulting. It's been terrible. Am I wrong, chat? I don't think that I am. And whose fault is that? Well, look, people always revert back to this, but what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. That's what Xbox is doing with their messaging marketing for years. They need to be better. So I'm sorry. That's it. I sold Game Pass better than they did for crying out loud. We have G Mania 1 or G Mania. I've never seen the name, but well, thank you so much for dropping a very generous Canadian $5. He says they want to sell their hardware, no games on PC, PlayStation, and have Game Pass only on Xbox consoles. No, that's not what we want. They're going to continue to put Xbox's PC, PC's Xbox. Project Helix is both. And you're going to be able to play all of those games on that one box. I'm not saying you shouldn't put Gears of War on PC. Whoever even suggested that? No one. Because I didn't say PC, that you're expecting it. When I say console, Xbox only, like I just said moments ago, Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox, but everybody knows that. I mean, that's been like that for years. Snaps Gaming drops an additional, very generous, $10 super chat. He says this year, to attempt to make up console sales, especially with GTA dropping, the only way to grow hardware and ecosystem is to take a loss on Series XS, and that helps the future. Yeah, you gotta look. I don't know about the X situation, but if you want the players from PlayStation 4 that were Xbox 360 players that went over for price, remember what I'm saying here. They went from messaging was ruined in 2013 for Xbox because of stupid people that were in charge and making the calls. Donnie D being the most blatant. They went from 360 to PlayStation because of how PlayStation messaged, how they marketed it as $100 less because of the camera. One box was $500, the other one was $400. And that's how they got them over. How do they get them back over? Price, messaging, first-party games, and a service that's the best in the business. Xbox has it in spades. They just have to sell it. That's my spiel. So Drac Pulse, which is a new name. So if you're not subscribed, if you enjoyed the conversation, please, subscribe and hit the thumb up button. If you didn't, that's fine too. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, as a PC player, I don't understand the PC versus Xbox beef out of nowhere. Microsoft is on PC, LOL. PC players will not buy an Xbox to play a few Xbox times. Again, I think that the conversation that you might have misconstrued what we were saying. No one is saying make games only for Xbox. That's financial suicide. You make games for PC and Xbox, and you give the finger to everyone else. That's what you do. You make people go buy an Xbox or buy a PC to play these games. What I would do is say, guess what? We were going to put these games on there, but we looked at the numbers, and the numbers, listen, you know what the old saying is, if it's not making dollars, it's not making sense? Porting those games is damaging your brand, and you're just not making the returns. So I have to ask the question. What is the number for anybody in this chat? Can you give me a number, a millions number that you can say definitively is worth brand damage? Is that 300 million? Is that 667 million? Could someone tell me? Because I don't think that there is a number you can give me. Brand damage is exactly that. You can't keep putting your shit on the competitor's box and making it easy for PlayStation to keep winning. That's what you can't do. And that's what they continue to do. And maybe new leadership will change that. I don't know. Pix310 says, another show where grown men are begging for exclusives. Dude, I first of all, I'm probably going to return you $2 and go fuck yourself. I will say that. I don't like the curse, but no, we're not here begging for anything. I think we had a really good conversation. You're just being a dick. And I will say that. So give me the finger. It's fine. I can take it. And, hate watch the channel if you want. But I think you got it all wrong. We're not begging for anything. Brett Bingham in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, C Money, when you were a kid, what did you look at when you decided to buy it? The cover art. Stop the cap, or we'll feed you mustard and olives. Yeah, I'm sure he'll really like that. Alvin in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. It says, Asha wasn't brought in to bring in a few more shekels. Microsoft makes plenty already. She was brought in to, quote, restore the brand and reverse the decline. There you go. There it is. She was brought in. Why? Because her skill set is getting people to use a service or brand. She did that with Instacart to great degree. That is why she was hired. Chris R55 in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, see money, the sales do matter because of the shareholders and they want results. They don't get many more quarterly. He goes on to say they don't get many more quarterly results where you say hardware down 33% again. I mean, I follow the numbers. What is this, like the 8th, 9th, or 10th quarterly that they're down double-digit numbers? How do you reverse that? Keep putting your games on PlayStation? Yeah, that worked for you. Put your games everywhere. Kumbaya. That worked. No, it didn't. And it's a proven fact that it didn't. Torino Johnson's been a channel member for 31 months. So Torino, thank you so much for the crazy support. He says, I agree with Boom. They should at least try instead of giving up. Keep Halo, Gears, Fable, Blade on platform. PlayStation can have the rest. PlayStation can have Elder Scrolls 6 because that's been a multi-plat for years. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm running the show, that gets a year delay. You keep Elder Scrolls for yourself. Now, I know that didn't work so well for Starfield, but Starfield was marred with controversy. A lot of fakeisms with Starfield. But look, if you want to use that as proof positive, is $200K worth the 2 or 3 years worth of porting development that they did to put it on PlayStation? I don't know. You guys tell me. But again, we'll see. Retro Rich in the chat drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, the most exciting thing that's come out of Xbox so far for me is the talk of a unified development environment between Windows, PC, and console. Yeah, and cloud also, which is, there are enough places for you to play to get that you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to put your stuff everywhere. You can play on cloud, you can play on PC, you can play on handheld. Do you really need PlayStation 5 and Nintendo? I don't think that you do. Marvelous Marvin drops an outstanding and ridiculous $20 super chat. He says, awesome live streams and videos. That's very kind of you. And I will be making a video out of this topic that we just covered for about damn near an hour. Day Reezy drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, should Mario be on PlayStation and Xbox for more money? Xbox brand is damaged. If not, why spend so much time trying to repair it? Was it all a dream? Listen, if you don't think that it's damaged, I'm not going to fight you. I just think that I have to ask the question again. What they did before new management, did it work? I'm not being facetious. I'm not being an a-hole. Did it work? Or would you consider it a failure? Because I would consider it a failure. Why is that? That's a 9-hour podcast that we're not going to have. You can figure that out for yourself. But I believe it failed. Drumline Roller in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Xbox needs titles like Quantum Break. Quantum Break is still a W. Quantum Break is dope. That is, I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements in that game, and that last achievement would beat that last boss on the hardest difficulty. Nearly made me throw my controllers, and I don't throw controllers because they're expensive. So yeah, I absolutely agree. I'd like to see a sequel for sure. LeBurn98 drops a very generous $10 super chat and says it's marketing. Microsoft owns some of the largest franchises in Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. There is no reason why they shouldn't treat them like Xbox exclusives. See Sony and Hogwarts Legacy marketing. Thank you, sir. There you go. And that's the other thing. I don't want to get into it because, again, we're already here 2 hours and 19 minutes, and my back only has so much left in it. But if they give Call of Duty marketing back to PlayStation, where there were actual PlayStation consoles with the branding that I literally said, why? You own Call of Duty. Market that shit, man. Drop it on the table and let them know what you're working with. They just don't. Maybe that's going to change. Freddie Fox in the chat drops a very generous $2 $2 super chat. Says, boom, you said the F word. Love TT. I hate myself for it, but that guy was a bit of a dick. And I don't like that. You want to accuse me of being a fanboy. I'm not going to fight you on it. But when you're saying we're out here just arguing about exclusivity and grown men don't have anything better to do, I don't have to do this show. I do it because I want to, and I do that 5 days a week. The show is syndicated. And you know what? If we weren't important to the brand, Microsoft wouldn't invite us to things. So it is what it is. I don't like, I don't really, I'm going to hate myself for a week for saying the F word live on the air, but I kind of allowed my emotions to get away with me, and I don't like doing that. But thank you, Freddie, for the $2. It's me, the Rogue Boy, drops an additional very generous $2 super chat. And he says, boom, get a squishy controller and throw it like I do. See, that's genius, because I know that you've broken controllers. I have about 60 controllers. I have some really dope ones. Like the one sitting right here, I have the Sea of Thieves. Yo, do you know how much money that thing is worth? Bro, it's like $500 on eBay, and it's one of my favorite controllers sitting right here. Snaps TV Gaming drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and said, bantering with the brothers is natural. Keep it up. Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody that was on this panel, I consider family. Again, C Money, that's my brother. I don't mind disagreeing with him. I think it makes for great conversation, which we had today. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Again, a big thank you for all of these ridiculous super chats. 37 today, that's just insane. We do this for you. I work on the channel 7 days a week because I always want to be a better podcaster the next day I do a show. I'm always going to, like, if you see my screen, I have like 14 things open. I have 3 screens open. I got notes all over the place. I do the artwork for everything in before. There's a lot of work that goes into the channel, and I freaking love every second of it. It really does keep me busy outside of being in the gym and doing what I do for the house and the community. I love stuff. But thank you everyone for the insane generosity. Of course, we're going to be doing a couple of big giveaways towards the end of the year. We'll talk about that when we get there. We just gave away $250 worth of gift cards, 10 $25 gift cards, so people can go buy replaced. And we have a couple more that we're going to announce, not today, but we're working on a few things in the background. The monies just have to line up. But thank you, everyone. We had nearly 600 people watching live on a Thursday, which is, again, this is a small channel. We're still very tiny compared to some of the big ones that we roll with. And C Money has a big channel. So does Iron Lords. And there's a few others that, like Colt Eastwood. I mean, his channel's ridiculous. But we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So ultimately, we want to thank everyone that was here. If you disagree with us, awesome. I don't think insults, even if you drop a super chat, is the right thing to do. I think if you're going to do that, you're just going to get banned, because I'm not going to stand for that. I do this for fun, and I don't think I console war. I'm pointed. I'm an X-bot. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit back and I'm going to take people saying, oh, you just look at these grown men. They're a bunch of babies. Well, I've already used the F word once, and I want to use it again. Don't hate watch the channel. I'm sure that there are other channels you can watch that are way better than mine. But with that said, thank you everyone for being here. Of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. He'd say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.